Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Monday in the Riv. Guess I'll start with an announcement that is difficult. Dave, for you retirees and people who've been worked for the city, Dave Machado passed away yesterday. He served on a retirement board for 30 years. He was the president of Police Association, the union, police union, and I know he worked with the state, and he's been involved. He was involved his entire life. He was still actually the vice president of the Fall River Municipal Retirees Association. He used to be the president, and he then became the vice president when I became the president, and he still was, and passed away. Served this community greatly. He was a hell of a guy. He never got out of it. He stayed in the fight his whole career, throughout even his retirement, and he should be well remembered. And I remember when he got thrown off the IAC. I forgot which mayor it was. It was either Flanagan or Coogan. I guess Kathy Ann, because the mayoral appointee, again, that's the only one that's a mayoral appointee on the IAC. Everything else is by the unions. They're either appointed or elected by their unions, and we've been trying to change that as we're trying to change the retirement board law. But that really hurt David, because he put a lot of time in. I started working on IAC with David in 1981. And he fundamentally stayed on the IAC until he was ignominiously removed by a scumbag political mayor. So whichever it was is irrelevant, because they're all the same. The only thing that changes is the name. But Dave was a credit for public service, and a very, very good friend, and he'll be greatly missed.
I'm sorry for your loss, Chip. You and I spoke about this yesterday. And when his arrangements are made, if the arrangements happen to be on a day of our show, we will not have a show that day. We will announce it beforehand, but we will not have a show that day out of respect for the family and for the people that he worked with for so many, many years. I've never heard a bad thing about him. And I know it's difficult for you because you've worked with them for so long, and you develop a lot of relationships when you're working in the community this way. And it hurts us every time we lose somebody who was dedicated to this community. And as you said, even though a scumbag mayor may take you off, it doesn't minimize your dedication to this community.
Yeah. No, you're right. He was, he never left. He was always there, even, and he lived to a ripe old age. I know he's either 96 or 97, depending on the month. I don't know what month he was born, but he lived to a ripe old age, and he was active until only a few months ago. He was coming to our meetings and sitting alongside of me at the meetings, and he like you said, he always he always worked for the people. He tried to do the right thing all the time, and he was always there. That's a credit. I mean, and like I said, the Fall River Municipal Retirees Association and the IAC and stuff were non-paid positions, and he, of course, the retirement board doesn't get much. They get a little tiny stipend, but he was on a retirement board for 30 years. So, he was what people should be. He was interested in people. We see that, not politics and not making money and not doing what most of these scumbags do. And that's why he and I, we worked together, and we worked together well so long. He was really, he tried to do the right thing all the time for the people, for the retirees, for the actives, for everybody. And like I said, he'll be sorely missed. I've told our secretary treasurer to put it out on the municipal retirees website, and some of the retirees who watch this show, that I know that they do, be informed. We will put down the arrangements as soon as we get them. I'm waiting to hear. So with that, there are also a little public service announcement. Anybody that lives in the Flint area, they were flushing hydrants this morning on Eastern Avenue. So if you live in the Eastern Avenue area, make sure that you run your faucet a little bit.
Don't do your laundry today.
Don't do your laundry today, because they were flushing hydrants. So, and with that, back to the ugly world of politics. What's going on, CJ?
Well, tomorrow
the weekend flush, and what's going on?
Well, let's break out the first bit of big political news. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. is the vice presidential debate, the only vice presidential debate. So it's going to be interesting to see, because I picture J.D. Vance coming out as a pugilist. He's got a pugilistic attitude about himself, okay? And I think he will just pound into walls. Now, I'm so tired of hearing that Donald Trump is going to get rid of IVF, and Donald Trump is going to restrict abortion, and Donald Trump is going to do this. Donald Trump has already said he's not going to restrict abortion, that he would not sign a federal mandate on abortion. He supports IVF. But Kamala Harris is over there spreading the lies, and Walz is carrying it too. So we'll see how this is handled tomorrow. I don't want to see personal attacks. I want to see policy. And I know Kamala is asking for another debate with Donald Trump, but unless Trump can take it down a notch and focus on policy and not on personal opinions and attacks, I don't want to see it, and I won't watch it. I want to see policy. I want to hear policy. Well, that's what we need.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this debate. I mean, the problem you have, and listen, I'm going to be perfectly frank. I would have a difficult time not going off topic and getting personal with somebody like Trump does, because these people truly piss me off, especially when they're pathological liars.
Right. And the press doesn't fact check them. That's the other thing. The press don't fact check them.
Yeah, and but it shows the courage of Trump will go anywhere and debate anywhere. He gets off topic, he gets pissed off, and he's human. Some people are a little cooler. I mean, he's not William F. Buckley. He's not a professional debater. They say he's a good debater, but the thing is that it's hard not to get upset. You got Tim Walz, who she picked another guy just like him, a pathological liar. He lied about his military rank. He's lied about a whole bunch of things. A football coach. He was an assistant coach. He lied about his rank. He said he was a sergeant major, a command sergeant major, which is a very prestigious rank in the military. So he's fundamentally another arm waving liar, like like Kamala. Kamala's lying about everything, about it being a great prosecutor of illegals, and now that thing broke about 13, over 13, nearly 13,099 murderers loose in the United States, 14,000 rapists, 350,000 children missing. They can't find them. The government and DHS, and it's a total mess. Yeah, the Project 2025, and that's all they do. Look, that's all they got. They're gonna lie, and this is why we tell everybody: educate yourself. Don't even listen to what. Go out and do some research. Trump has said clearly, and number one, we've already got a Supreme Court decision that put abortions in the hands of the state, the individual states. I mean, everything they got, because they got no record to run on. Like 3.5, they destroyed the country. Kamala's pretending like she just hatched from an egg. Oh yeah, this is me. I'm running for president. I'm Kamala Harris. I got nothing to do with anything there. Let's look to the future, not be burdened by the past or whatever the bull shit that she spouts and keeps repeating in her word salad. She picks a word and repeats it 1,000 times. It's like it's like she never existed. Well, she was on it. She got a 20-minute photo op at the border. They made sure it was clear. You didn't see one illegal. 20 million of them will come over the border. When she walked the border with the agents that she said were Nazis, had whipped people, all of which were lies. She's pretending that, oh yeah, we got a crisis, but pay attention to what she says. I'm very, very sensitive to the English language. She didn't say she was going to fix it. She said, we got a problem. When I'm ensure that the laws are adhered to. Well, they're going to change the law. They wanted to change the law. That House, that bipartisan, which was not really bipartisan. Baduro finishing. Yeah, that's the next big fire.
Well, according to the photos I saw from Al and the videos I saw yesterday, he was trying to get a hold of me, and he finally got a hold of me, and he did a video call. And I was looking. The building is unsecure. You can walk in the door. There's still chemicals in the building.
There might even be 500 illegals in there.
Well,
who knows?
There's also swatting. Right. There's also files in there. Now, I thought that building was sold for market rate housing. Could I be wrong? And the roof is collapsed.
Well, remember Karnak the Magnificent?
Yeah.
Johnny Carson. Karnak the they're hoping somebody burns that place to the ground, saves them the demolition fee. That's what they're doing. I mean, the city's got an obligation. Al, listen, call the fire department, report it. Statutorily, the fire department has to do something about this, because that is jeopardizing the properties in the vicinity.
And be sure to let them know that there's chemicals still available in the building unsecure. That's 508-675-7411. That's 508-675-7411. It's amazing you still remember that number.
I know you remember that number. You call a lot. But no, there's a statute that says that anybody whose property abuts that or area can call in a complaint about anything that is a fire hazard and is a hazard to the public. And the fire department is obligated to do something about it, because, if there's a dumpster too close to a house and it's full, you can call, and they actually have to do something about it. But then again, who cares? They're gonna they want the to save the demolition fee. They'll just let somebody burn it down. And but we used to get calls like that all the time, and because you can't have stuff near property, even if a property is left kind of derelict and there's trash piled up in the yard and it's close to a property. You have I mean, I hate to tell Paul this again for the 80th millionth time. It's your job to give us a safe city. And it's his department.
Oh, come on, Chip. You're telling him his job. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But I'm really looking forward to that debate. Look, J.D. Vance got himself in a little, because they try to spin, because that's one thing about the mainstream propaganda media. They love to spin everything. They distort things to make it seem like, Trump's 2025. Trump said there's going to be a bloodbath. He was talking about the auto industry. He said that a million times, but they're still talking. They're still talking about the Russian dossier. They're still, and it's been debunked. The FBI said it was false. They said Hunter's laptop wasn't real. They lie about everything. This is what they do. Kamala's walking around like she just got, like I said, she just hatched out of a test tube. Oh, let's look to the future, not be burdened by the past. Yeah, the past that you created. You destroyed the country. Anybody noticing gas is going down like a rocket?
I was going to say,
the election's coming. They want you to forget the last 3.5 years.
I was going to say that. I just gassed up my car this morning. $2.79 a gallon. I thought that was pretty good.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make you really sick now. You know the gas stations on Eastern Avenue and the gas stations. No, yeah, you're wandering around. But the gas stations on Eastern Avenue and Brayton Avenue, the Supreme stations. CJ.
I know. Yeah.
Well, I went up to the Westport Supreme Station, which is the same people own it.
Right.
Yesterday, because I wanted some double chocolate donuts. I'm a chocoholic.
Oh, I know.
And they got really good, Honeydew's got really good double chocolate donuts. So I went up there and took Abby for a ride. I get her a couple of plain dewdrops. She likes her dewdrop, the dog. And I got up there and I was flabbergasted. I didn't need gas, but I got it anyway. I had like a quarter of a tank. I was going to wait a little while longer, maybe do it. $2.49.
Wow.
30 cents cheaper than their other stations. I couldn't believe it. I had to do a double take. I was going to pull into the Dunkin' Donuts, which is attached to that gas station in Westport on Sanford Road.
Right. That's the old Valero station.
I looked at the sign. I went, that's not. I gotta be looking. I couldn't have read that sign right. So I pulled up and I looked at it. I looked at it, and I looked at the pump, and I said, it's $2.49. I went in there, and I said, hold it. I'm going to top the tank off. I put so much gas in there that the tank was above full for about 25 miles before it finally got to full. It was like, but $2.49, 30 cents cheaper than both of their stations that are, maybe a mile and a half, 2 miles away, mile and a quarter. And so anybody looking for cheap gas, it was $2.49 up there. That's another public service announcement. So, but then that's the great thing about Democrats. They think everybody is absolutely stupid. And I'm looking forward to this.
Remember how we got this price of $2.49 or $2.79 or whatever it may be. We are bearing all of our oil reserves. We are spending it down. We're spending it down. When we need that, we won't have it. But the Democrats aren't going to pay that. Democrats aren't going to pay that.
Look, the biggest enemy we have is not is, well, we got two big enemies: the stupidity of the general public and the obliviousness of them, that they don't pay attention. They're watching TikTok. They get their news from TikTok and Instagram and all the other idiotic social platforms, and they listen to people like Taylor Swift, and who's a billionaire, and all the movie actors who are millionaires, and they don't care about anything, and half of them are commies. All of them are commies, actually. Well, 99% of them are. But they listen to this crap, and all they do is spin and lie. They just flat out lie or tell a half truth. But J.D. Vance, he took apart a couple of news commentators when they tried to trap him, and he just went right back at him. Listen, he is not Joe Biden. Joe Biden said he graduated at the top of his class. He graduated at the bottom. He cheated his way through law school. Kamala never really was outstanding in any job she ever had. She got it through
including vice president.
Yeah, whether it was, DA, attorney general, you name it, she was mediocre at best. They fluff her record up. They said she prosecuted, and I saw a thing that said she never sat first chair on any prosecution of any note. She was never first chair on anything. She went in after the case was won by people who worked in the office and took credit for it. Oh yeah, the DA's office did this, but you didn't do it. And now she's pretending she hasn't been vice president for nearly 4 years. So if you want to believe that crap, so be it. But this debate should be good, because unlike Joe Biden, J.D. Vance did graduate at the top of his class at Princeton. And then they imagine how hypocritical they are. If he was a Democrat and graduated from Princeton, they'd say, oh, look what a brilliant guy this guy is. He came up from nothing and then went to Princeton. And by the way, he didn't go to Princeton undergrad. He went to Princeton Law School. He went to Ohio undergrad. He grew up poor, made something of himself, and they condemned him for that. That's what the Democrats are great at, condemning everybody. Oh yeah, look at him. Now he made his money in Silicon Valley. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Stevie. Yeah, and you're right. We all know the man. We all know the guy you're talking about. That was her first promotion, and that's how she got one of her first big jobs. We all know what what happened in San Francisco. But listen, this is a serious election, people. This country we're on the verge of world, and you don't see much of it in the news. The Middle East is blown up. We're on a verge of a full-scale war in Lebanon now. They've abandoned Israel. But we're giving 60 billion more we've given 60 billion to Ukraine. They love that little dictator, but they're going to abandon Israel. But you don't hear a lot of this stuff in the news. They don't talk about that Ukraine's been losing this war since day one, and all we've been doing is throwing that money at them, and about 90% of that money is unaccounted for. But we do know that money that we were supposedly giving Ukraine to fight a war, we're paying for their pensions. We're paying to run their government. So we're not only paying these clowns to screw up our government, we're paying it for the Ukraine to screw up their government. And every time somebody mentions where's the money, they go, shut up. You're against you. You're a Putin lover. You love Russia. Oh, you're a commie. No, they're the commies. Think about how hypocritical they are. Didn't they just launch a space shuttle? And who have they got on that space shuttle?
Couple of cosmonauts.
Huh?
Couple of cosmonauts.
And one was Russian.
That's what I said. A couple of cosmonauts.
Yeah, they got a Russian on there with an American. And they leave the two seats open to rescue the people that are stranded up in space.
Right.
So how hypocritical is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? They're always using Putin as when China's our major enemy. And they're whacking, they love to talk about Russia, 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 Russia. Well, we're working with Russia. Why is a cosmonaut being on a space shuttle? They're not bitching about that. No, they're not saying anything. They're giant phonies. And unfortunately, everything about this moves the needle toward not talking about what we should be talking about in a political election. Who's going to run the country better? Who's going to make it better for the people? It's like Paulie. Movies. I put on my blue jeans and went down and gave a $20 bill to a homeless guy while I passed an ordinance to take all this crap and displace them without doing anything. Government does the same thing. They're letting people, veterans and people with mental problems, lay all over the streets of cities in the United States, especially San Francisco, while they worry about illegals and give them all kinds of money. While they're talking about a national housing crisis. I just saw that. And who was talking about that idiot Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island? Everybody acknowledges there's a national affordable housing crisis. But Paul Coogan and Linda Pereira go, we've done enough. Wake up, people. Wake up. Wake up. What the hell is going on here? These people are, if bullshit was bricks, those two could build a chimney to the moon and have bricks left over. Because that's all they're dealing with. They want to get away from the reality. I don't care if Trump has mean tweets and I don't like his personality. I'm hiring him to run this country and give me what they guaranteed us when they created this country in a preamble to the Constitution. Domestic tranquility. We don't have that. We got wars raging. We got no domestic here tranquility. We got people, burning things and ripping signs down and provide for the common defense. We're not providing for our common defense. We're allowing our military to be dismantled while we're subsidizing Iran, Ukraine, and every other place on the planet except the United States military, which is thousands and thousands of people undermanned.
I want to bring something up there about that. If we took all that money that we give away every year to foreign aid and put it on our debt, we wouldn't be in debt anymore.
We wouldn't even have to pay taxes.
That's right.
If they took all of, and the thing is, it never stops with these.
No, it doesn't. It never does.
We've been given countries money since World War II.
Yeah.
After World War II, we were given Germany and Japan. We basically rebuilt Japan after we leveled it with 2 nuclear bombs.
Right.
And we rebuilt Germany. And we're still giving subsidies to Europe. We're still paying for Europe. And nobody cares. The politicians the media never covers it, and that's the way it is. And, but we forget the real things. like I said, you got to elect people. You know, my plumber, I don't have to like him. I don't have to like him. Shut up, fix my plumbing. You're a great plumber. That's who I want. I want when you come in my house to work on my plumbing, I want to make sure when you leave, the thing works, and it's going to work for a while. When I take my car to an auto repair shop, I want to make sure the guy knows how to fix my car the first time, not just stick different parts in and charge me. That's the way you hire everything else in the world. When you want your roof done, you find out who's a good roofer. You go out for bids. You look out what roofer. You try to save a few bucks, but you want something done right. At least I do. I don't know. You want a half-ass roof? That's up to you. But the reality is these people don't do the thing that's amazing. The most important jobs in the world are running this country. Like I said, no domestic tranquility, no common defense, no general welfare.
We've got a civil war going on. We've got a civil war going on in this country.
Yeah, absolutely.
People don't see it. People don't see it. People just don't see it.
Well, and after November, you're going to see it. I think one way or another, CJ, we're having a civil war after this is over. Because it doesn't matter to me no matter who wins. If Kamala loses, which she should because she's an imbecile. But then again, we had a mental defective as the president for the last 4 years. Why don't we just have a puppet imbecile for a president? That'll really make us look good on the world stage. Let's have somebody that can't put a sentence together. Let's try to do an imitation of Kamala. Get a word. That's really difficult, though. I mean, she has a talent for that. I mean, I'm pretty good writing stuff, and you know that. I'm pretty good with words, but I can't use the same word 75 times in the same sentence and make it seem coherent.
Joy.
Yeah. It's like you watch some of the stuff she does. It's horrifying. But people don't care. They elect people based on everything but the fact that, hey, look, there's no doubt Trump can do the job. He did it. Right. He had a 1.4% interest rate. They lie about that. They said, no, he didn't. The interest rate was through the.
You got stuck there, Chip. Not sure why. Not sure what happened. But it's interesting to see.
Here we go. He's responsible for Pearl Harbor, the Kennedy assassination, Lincoln's assassination, you name it. Donald Trump is responsible for everything. And everything was bad when Donald Trump was the that's why she doesn't want you to be unburdened by the past. She doesn't want to look at the past. She doesn't want you to remember that gas was under $2 in a lot of places when he was people weren't paying triple what they're paying for heat. People weren't paying $8 for bacon. We had low inflation. We were bringing jobs back to America. The border was closed. All these things were factual. But the mainstream media lies about everything. They support the lies.
How about when they turned around and said that J.D. Vance was lying about egg prices because he said it's $8 for a dozen eggs? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. In this country, eggs are expensive. Yeah, I mean, around here, we're not seeing $8 a dozen. But elsewhere in this country, you are seeing $8 a dozen. Okay?
Yeah.
And they said, oh, well, look at the sign behind him says $2. Number one, I didn't see $2. And number two, if I did, it was probably on something else. And the reason why the eggs are so expensive are because of, quote unquote, bird flu, but also because the farmers are being paid not to produce. That's the other big problem.
Yeah, well, that's always been a problem, CJ. The farm subsidies has always been a thorn in my side that we've been paying for decades and decades farmers not to grow stuff.
Right.
And that inflates prices, competition. We've been paying farm subsidies for years. There are farmers in the Midwest that get paid more not to plant crops than they do to plant crops.
Exactly.
It is what it is. But they're so the mainstream media is so hypocritical. And they don't they're covering everything up, like with Israel. They just don't show they nobody talks about what they did. They killed babies and they raped people and stuff. And I was reminded of that because I did finally get those pictures back, or actually copies of the pictures of that I donated on behalf of my father to the Holocaust Museum in Washington. I got the original of the one he wrote on the back of, and I got copies of all those pictures that he took at Buchenwald, because he was a combat engineer in World War II, and he was one of the first boots on the ground in the first concentration camp liberated by the United States. And those pictures are horrific. Absolutely horrific. And I got the copies back finally. I donated them in 2007, and I finally got them back. They sent me the copies, and I looked in them again, and I forgot how I'll tell you, there's something. And I still have the camera that he took the pictures with, that he confiscated from a German. Confiscated is a polite word, but confiscated from a German officer. And people forget that. Why are the Israelis the way they are? They're never going to let happen what happened again in World War II.
And
the
they've
Israelis will go down fighting. They will fight till the bitter end. They will die. Every one of them will die fighting, because they are not going to let themselves get herded into a concentration camp, lined up against walls and shot, be gassed, and killed by the millions. They're not going to do it. So and people like to forget history, but it's there. Why are the Israelis the way they are now? They know that Hezbollah and Hamas want to do exactly the same thing the Germans did to them. And when they get done with the Jews, they'll do it to the Christians. Oh, milk. Yeah. Well, listen, the eggs, CJ, the mainstream media, if J.D. Vance says it's $8 and they find one dozen eggs for $7.98, they're going to bitch.
Exactly.
Oh, it's not $8. We found somewhere somebody's selling 100-year-old eggs or something like that for $3. They do everything except look at the facts. If the facts are, do we have inflation? Yeah. Are people making less now? Yeah. They're making less, because if you're making more money, but everything costs 3 times more, and you're only making 5% more, but everything is 40% more expensive, guess what? You're 35% in the hole. They can't do basic math. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, I think it's time we shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Break into local news.
Local.
And the weekend flush. It is Monday.
It is.
And one of the things about that we talked about in the weekend flush was the political machinations of a dictator, when he removed a police chief who he said himself has done a great job. He said it himself that he did a great job. Yet he's going to go in a different direction. Really? If he's doing such a great job, why is he going to a different direction? Why? Because he's holding people accountable. He's doing things by the book, which means your political allies can't get away with shit. And that's the sad part about it. I received a letter from Colin Dias, school committee member, saying that he's asking permission of the mayor to submit a letter to the city council to have them remove, add an addendum to the Charter Review Committee's report to have the mayor removed as chairman of the school committee because it's a political cancer. It's a political cancer. And I agree that. Sorry, Jeff, I don't listen to We Suck at Radio. I'm not even allowed to call in, so I haven't heard him. If you'd like to tell us, you can type it out. But the thing is that that's governed by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 43, Section 21. Section 31, excuse me. That says that the mayor must be chairman of the school committee. Although Attleboro doesn't have that. So did Attleboro get special legislation to exempt them from it? And if so, why can't we do it in Florida? Oh, wait a minute. I know why. Because the legislative kiss asses don't want to hurt Paul. They don't want to take any power away from him. That's the situation we have. And that's not pleasant. When you can't even trust your elected officials to represent your desires or your wants or your needs. I guess the Constitution doesn't mean shit.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, look, just like you said, Attleboro, the government structure, and that's the irony of it. You realize how hypocritical the Democrats are. She was waving the supposedly bipartisan thing that was going to fix it. It wasn't going to fix the border. It was going to basically guarantee the border stayed open. That was bipartisan. There was only one Republican senator and nobody from the House. Holistically, yeah. Oh, there you go. There's one of us. See, I couldn't remember. I can't use a word that much in a sentence without saying it makes no sense. Great one, Steve. This is exactly fundamentally what she said. Read that thing, CJ, because that's terrifying. I mean, holistically, that's it. That was the word of the day. Kamala learned that word. That was her buzzword for the day. Her campaign staff said, today, Kamala, your word is holistically. So let's go there and use it 72 times in the same sentence. But
and let's make everybody learn what that word means.
The scary part about it is that, Teddy Roosevelt was right so many years ago that, when he said that Rome died because the people stopped participating in the elections and electing good people to represent them. And that's what's happening in the United States now. To think that nearly 50% of this country would even consider voting for an imbecile is scary. It's frankly scary. How can somebody that can't, you can see on her face how nervous she is whenever she's in front of a camera. They wrap her in cotton. They only give her softball questions. Everybody is working in collusion to put an imbecile in as president. You think China's happy about? Of course they are. They're gonna support putting her in because she'll do anything her bosses tell her, and all her bosses are in with China. I mean, it's really a scary proposition that nearly 50% of this country can't figure that out. I mean, you look at her for 2 minutes. I'm looking forward to that debate tomorrow because I think you got the arm wave of Waltz. Oh yeah, the commie. Yeah, he loves Red China. He lived over there for a while. He ran Minnesota kind of like Red China. He had the rat line during COVID. Rat out your neighbor, like they do in Red China. The only thing he didn't do that they did in China is weld them into their apartments and let them starve to death, because that's what China did during COVID. They basically welded these people into their apartments and let them die. just like they did with the Uyghurs, but nobody cares about that. Just like nobody cares about the Holocaust anymore. They don't even want to talk about it. Nobody's going to talk about what happened. You know, it's not like the Jewish state doesn't understand what will be done to them if they allow these people to go unchecked. They've already experienced what people will do when they have that kind of hostility against them. But nobody gives a damn. They're worried about Taylor Swift, and they're worried about these things. And what are you going to do? Yeah. That's right. Yeah. How dare they? How dare they allow, try to take people who are not eligible to vote off the voter rolls? Oh, speaking of that, CJ, I got to tell everybody, Democrats always talking about there's never any corruption in elections. There's no even attempt to corrupt elections. There's no false voter registrations. I'm calling the Secretary of State in Michigan and the Secretary of State in Massachusetts because there's no attempt to corrupt elections. See what that says?
Vote Democratic.
See what it says? Well, you can see the beginning of it right there.
Yeah.
Read it. Now, I'll read it. Now, I didn't solicit this. And how many people are they sending this to? Vote Democratic. Hi, Robert. It's Lavora Bonds, chair of the Michigan Democratic Party. Our records show that you requested an absentee ballot, which is an absolute lie. You used to live in Michigan. I never did. So it only takes a few minutes to fill out your ballot. Fill in a Democratic Party bubble under the straight party ticket selection at the top of your ballot. Then make sure you find the nonpartisan section of your ballot. You may need to turn it. See, they think everybody's an idiot, so they even got to tell you that. If you can't see it. And vote for Justice Kara Harris Bolden and Kimberly Ann Thomas for Michigan Supreme Court and your other local nonpartisan races. Stand with Democrats who are putting Michigan families first. Ballots are due back to your clerk by 8 p.m. on Election Day, Tuesday, November 5th. Mail it back ASAP. Drop it in. Mail it. Return it. Any questions? Call us. How many of these ballots? They said I requested a ballot. Is somebody going to vote in my name in Michigan when I don't respond? Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I mean, people who pay attention know. But I mean, these people, they're just relentless. I could not believe this. I got this thing. I just can't. When I got this thing I think on Saturday night. I saw a text message beep in, and I said, "What the hell? I don't even know that number." And it's like they're sending an absentee ballot to me in a 508 area code. They texted me. They know what my number is. It's a Massachusetts area code.
They knew your name,
and they know my name. And they said I requested a ballot, which I didn't. So how many people, let alone illegals, how many, this is like Mayor Daley in Chicago. How many dead people are voting in this election? How many people from states? And they'll say, well, there's nothing we can do. We can't track it. Yes, you can. Because I talked to a person who knew somebody who was prosecuted for voting twice. This individual is a resident of Massachusetts and Florida, Snowbird. He said he knows a guy who lives in Massachusetts and also lives in Florida, and he voted in both states. It's wrong. He was wrong. They found him. They prosecuted him. You know why? He voted for Trump. He was a Republican. They can find the Republicans that vote illegally, but they can't find any Democrats that vote illegally. This is why you worry about elections. That's why they want to say, that's why they're filing suits when you're looking for illegal voter registrations, because there's literally hundreds of thousands of them. They're trying to register me illegally in Michigan. They want me to vote in Michigan. They said I requested a ballot.
Worst part is you're not a Democrat.
That's right. And never have been.
Right.
Or a Republican.
There you go. There you go.
I did. Well, I have voted in those in certain primaries, but I went immediately back to in the old days. It used to be called independent. Now unenrolled.
Now it's unenrolled.
You can call me anything you want, but don't call me a Democrat or a Republican. I'm neither.
There you go. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. It's been a great show. I love your comments, and please don't hesitate to share our show with your friends. And thank you for sharing the Weekend Flush. Our subscription base is starting to grow. Keep sharing the Weekend Flush with your friends. Tell them to subscribe.
Thanks for watching. Don't vote in Michigan.
Don't vote in Michigan. Remember, hold your politicians accountable. Stay safe. Have a great day, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.